Authors Mark Cornelius and Traci Loecker share their experiences exploring methods for illuminating a storyline to maximize the writer reader relationship. Writers Wrestling invites you to join in on a conversation not about what to write, but about how to write. Welcome to Writers Wrestling. And I'm Mark Cornelius, and right beside me here, but in another location, is Traci Loecker. Say hi, Traci.
Hi, everybody.
We are continuing on our adventure of uh, sharing our writing experiences and what we have found works and what doesn't work, and some of the things to consider and not to consider. And all of this is to help other writers kind of zero in on what is the best way for them to get their writing put together. This is not about publishing, that may come later, but right now we're just talking about the writing styles, techniques, efforts, and encouragement. So, Traci, I think today we were going to talk about obstacles, aren't we?
Yep.
Okay. And people are going, obstacles? What do you mean? So, I'm just going to ask a question and I'm going to let you answer first, okay?
Okay.
If you decide you want, Traci, to share your story with other people, and that remember that's not necessary, who would you share it with first?
My daughter,
Okay? Why?
she has just been my person that if I write anything, whether it's a poem or my children's book, or she just takes the time to actually, read it in a very timely manner. And she always gets back to me. And most importantly, like I've learned now with you, I can send you what I write, and you're going to give me honest feedback,
Hmm.
constructive criticism. And as writers, sometimes that's what a lot of times that's what I need more than the, oh my gosh, you're doing great, keep going type thing. So, my daughter.
Great answer. Your confidant, somebody who's going to be honest and explicit with it, but also encouraging, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yep.
And I would say the same of my wife, but I have a caveat here because I've learned something over the course of a few years. Um, my writing differs from book to book,
Mhm.
subject to subject. Yes, I have a central theme with all my books, but um, I've found that there are trusted sources I have that if I want to see if my writing is going to generate interest, I
Mhm.
might send a book about oh, I don't know, let's say um, about rut management to people who are really in tune with the idea of getting their life on a path.
Mhm.
And so I would send it to them and say, does this even interest you, and
Mhm.
throw a couple sample chapters out there. If they say yes, that's one thing. If they say, no, well, then I
Right.
might just keep that for my personal writing.
Yeah.
Then once I get that kind of feedback, then it goes right to my wife, who is my go-to, just like you say, somebody who is going to be able to look at it from an editing and a composition and a structural standpoint. So there may be two answers to this. You want to know who your audience really is, whether you
Right.
even have
Yes.
an audience if you're going to share it. And and again, that may not be important. You may not need an audience. It might just be your own personal writing, like a journal.
Yeah.
But once you
And
got that, for me, it would
right.
be then I want to have somebody who's really going to look at it honestly and with a editor. There's two kind of editings. there's the grammatical, the written,
Mhm.
the spelling, and then there's also the just the content depth. You
Yep,
know, is it communicating what I want it to communicate?
right. And I think too, to follow up, you have to be okay with the feedback that you receive and apply it to your writing accordingly. And if you trust the person that you've given it to, then you need to trust their feedback. And so sometimes that's hard and because it is our baby and it is something that we're creating. And so, but even though it may resonate with us, doesn't mean that we're capturing that in the delivery of the writing itself. So,
Which segues very nicely into our talk about obstacles. Because
mhm.
what if we write something and we really do want it to resonate with others? I want this to speak to somebody else, not just me. And it don't. What then? Do I take that personally? Do I go off and lick my wounds and try again, or do I just say phooey? What
You know,
what do you do in that case?
I almost go back to some advice that I got a long time ago when I worked in a cost accountant position. They said ask more questions. So if somebody's giving you, their opinion and it didn't really resonate with them, okay, why? What would if you could see something different, what would it be? What top three things did you like about it? If there are top three, what are the top three things that you didn't like? Just ask more questions maybe and go from that angle. But I also think too that as writers, we need to get back to why did we fall in love with writing in the first place? Whether was it when we were a child, when we were in high school, but when we could just write freely and not have it be all up here all the time. So I would encourage writers to, even though you may not get feedback that you particularly like, keep writing. Remember why you're writing and just keep going. So,
Excellent. I absolutely agree with those two. Um, I'm going to go back in time.
mhm.
Pre pre pre-millennial time. I don't know. To another century.
Which
And
really wasn't that long ago.
it wasn't. It's still not. Um, but some of the very first wisest words that were given to me by a good friend at the time, and this was when I was writing music, even before I really, well, I was dabbling in writing, but whatever. And I put out this one song, and I just thought it was the greatest thing on earth, and
Mhm.
this is me. And I
Mhm.
put it out there, and her comments to me were, she nodded and looked at it, and Mark, you need to fight for your images.
Mhm.
And I looked at her and said, what do you mean? My images are my images. They come out naturally, right? They just they express themselves. The minute I put a word or a note on a page, or if I'm filming something, if it's any kind of art, it's that's who I am. Don't you understand?
Yeah.
And the and that's the question. Don't you understand?
Mhm.
No, I don't. Fight for your images. Bring it out more. Put some
Yeah.
more color to the palette.
Yeah.
Put more sound to it. Put more accentuation, or change it in a little bit and fight
Mhm.
for it.
Mhm. I
Because
love that.
we,
Ugh, I love that. And it kind of reminds me too that sometimes I feel this in my writing. It's hard to be uncomfortable sometimes. And sometimes that's exactly what our writing or our creativity needs. It needs us to be uncomfortable, write about something that it's not happy-go-lucky all the time. Well, that's where we get the feeling and, the depth to our writing. So,
Absolutely. That's where the all the senses start kicking in.
yeah.
All the unique grammatization, if that's a
Yeah.
word. I guess it is now because it
Yep.
just
It's a
all of those.
Marxism.
It's it's public now, so it's got to be
Right.
a word. Um, and that's the thing. Have fun with it, but also a little struggle.
Yeah.
Have a little struggle. Don't be hurt if people don't get what you're trying to say initially. That's to your benefit, and that's what I would say. Um,
Right.
okay, so I mean, I probably should have asked this first, Tracy. Now that you've done some writing, are you willing to refine your story?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even now because I'll submit my writings to different, um, like competitions and, here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And if whatever advice they give me, I take with a grain of salt. And I think, oh my gosh, I don't know everything there is to know about writing, and I never will. And as well as I do too, that the writing, the music writing, even painting, whatever, nothing, there's no wrong, really. I mean, if it's us creating it, it's not wrong, but can it be better? Yeah, and are we willing to refine it to be better? Yeah, I think we should. I think we should give our art the best chance it has of resonating with people. And I think in order to do that, we need to be able to collaborate, to receive, to give, all of that.
Very true. And there are many questions or many answers to the next question is how should that happen? I'll give you a personal experience of I wrote, my first real uh, approach at fiction. Uh,
Mhm.
did a couple of approaches first of all, but I mean, this was serious in that I wanted to put out an end time story, the singularity. And I
Mhm.
wrote and I wrote and wrote, and I mean, the words just flowed, and
Mhm.
I felt so good. And man, I was up to 150,000 words. I said, yeah, you go, what? And I looked at it and said, yes, boy, look at all those words. They're so good. They're all so good. And first publishing company I put it out to, and they said, oh, we like this a lot. What we'd like you to do is pare it down to somewhere between 60 and 80,000 words. I said, you want to cut my book in half.
Wow.
And they said, yeah, and that would be a maximum. you know?
Oh my gosh.
And well, there were so many good things about that because first of all, it forced me to fight for my images, to
Yeah.
economize,
Mm.
to make each word count, every
Yeah.
one of them, even the ands and the ifs and the buts. Um, but also then I had all this extra stuff over here. I said,
Mhm.
what do I do with that? And it turned one book into three books.
Nice. Awesome.
you know,
Yes.
and that was the polishing that went on and the efforts with it. So that's how that works. I mean, and there's many other ways to do that,
Mhm.
but I just thought that would be a good example. Anything from your side?
Well, did I tell you that I'm reading Singularity right now? And there are so many times when I'm reading it, I think, how did Mark think of this? Like, where did this come from? And it's like it's just so good. I'm just like,
You're
it's
blowing me away because I didn't know you were reading
yeah,
Singularity. Now
that's the
I'm
one
excited.
that's the one that I bought at the Barnes and Noble.
wow.
I wonder if we'll get a kickback from Barnes and Noble by I'm kidding.
If you're listening out there, no. Well, that's thank you. That's a you see now that's something that hits you right there.
Yeah.
Not only are you talking to people, but then somebody approaches you or just talking in casual says, you know, I'm in the middle of your book right now. And you didn't even know it. And you
Yes.
go,
Yeah.
oh man. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and boy, we could talk about this more, but we are right at the end. Excuse me, my alarm just went off. We said 15 minutes, and we meant 15 minutes, didn't we, Tracy?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so um,
Mhm.
we'll talk about other obstacles, and we'll get into those casually, but we're going to go on to other episodes as well. And again, you're welcome to contact us. It will be contact information, your questions, your responses, your obstacles. We will gladly receive them. But in the meantime, thank you all for listening and for um, being participants in this, whether distant or close by. Tracy, any last words?
Thanks, everybody.
Right on. Thanks for joining Writers Wrestling. Feel free to communicate with us with questions, reactions, and suggestions. You can also visit our websites for more information.